All right, let's get into some NFL football. Rob, Colin Kaepernick, who is really pushing. Rob, I'd say harder than we've seen him push since he's been out of the league. To get back in, he's obviously been out now almost 6 years. And he is now, he had to work out at Michigan. And he had another private workout where he threw the football. He has spoken, and he spoke on Brandon Marshall's podcast, I Am Athlete, and also with Chad Ochocinco and Adam Pac-Man Jones. And here's what Kaepernick said, Rob. He said he's willing to back up a quarterback. Here he is.
If an opportunity presented itself today and they said, we want to bring you in as the backup, would you take that?
Yeah.
You'll take that? If an opportunity...
I know I have to find my way back in.
Okay.
So, yeah, if I have to come in as a backup, that's fine. But that's not where I'm staying. And when I prove that I'm a starter, I want to be able to step on the field as such. I just need that opportunity to walk through the door.
All right, Rob, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, what he said is how all guys at that level feel like they can play. I don't care what, Chris, if you're in the NFL and you're the backup or the third string cornerback or safety, you believe you should be out there and you can play, right? Everybody.
There's only a handful of situations. I mean, if you're behind a Tom Brady,
right, or something
Patrick
where you're like, I'm not getting
Aaron
out there,
right,
you understand, where I'm not going to play. But anybody else, they believe that they can, if they were given the opportunity like the guy in front of them or the other guy, the two guys in front, Chris, that I could do the same thing. I played college basketball. I did this. I did that. I was an all-world in high school. You know what I mean? You don't make it to that league without having played well at some point along the path. I just think it's probably better if he doesn't go into all that. I'm looking for an opportunity. I think the other stuff speaks for itself. You don't have to, once I get there, I'm trying to take over the starting job. You don't have to say all that. I think that's a given. And we've seen in the NFL, Chris, and we talked about in the pre-show meeting, when Seattle signed Matt Flynn to be their quarterback and Russell Wilson showed up. They gave Matt Flynn a boatload of money because he threw a franchise record 6 touchdowns against the Lions the last game of the season. Right? Matt Flynn.
Yep.
And they were like, no, Russell Wilson's better than Matt Flynn, and that was the end of that. And they poured ketchup on that contract, Chris, and they ate it. Okay? Yep. And we saw that.
Nicely done. I know you didn't come up with that by yourself.
That's original.
Is it? They poured ketchup on that contract? Okay. I like that. That's pretty good.
And the other one was Alex Smith and Kaepernick. When he showed up. And Jim Harbaugh was like, no. I know what Alex Smith can do. He's a fine quarterback. Chris, I think they might have won a playoff game the year before.
Oh, yeah.
Kaepernick showed up, and boom, Kaepernick took over the job out of nowhere. So those things happen when guys play better. I just think for Kaepernick, it should just be looking for an opportunity to show who I am, that I can still play this game. I'm a young 30. How old is he?
34, I believe. 34.
Young 34. Haven't played in 4 years. My body feels good. I can still throw it. My legs are still good. I think that's the stuff people want to hear, not I'm going in to take somebody's job. And he didn't say that, but that's what he basically
said it.
Right?
He basically said it.
He didn't say I'm going to steal somebody's job.
Right.
You let me in, I'm wrecking havoc. I'm taking Tom Brady's spot. No, he didn't say that.
And I think he has a few teams in mind. And they're the teams with bad or mediocre quarterbacks. So I get it. You think you can go in and play better than those guys. But I agree, Rob. And I don't want to see Colin Kaepernick kowtow. I'm glad he stands tall. But you do need to show some humility, too. Because you're in a situation where you're trying to get back into the league. And I thought it was good, Rob, after one of the workouts he had, where he spoke and, at Michigan. It was at Michigan. Remember a couple years ago when he challenged the owners, like, stop running from the truth and all that. And I thought at Michigan he struck a much better tone. Didn't kowtow, didn't whimper, but just said, look, I'm looking for a shot and bring me in and see what I can do, that type of thing. I don't think anybody really wants to hear that, I'm not staying there. I'm not staying at the backup role. Because immediately that creates a controversy right away.
And nobody asked him that, Chris. The thing that, if you asked the question, would you be willing to take a backup job? And he could have just answered
what he was
that.
Asked. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Like you said.
He was asked that, and he could have said, absolutely, I've been out of the game. I miss it terribly. I'm willing to work my way back in, and if I got a backup, that's what I'll do, and I'll be the best backup quarterback in the NFL.
Right. And then if they say, do you think you can start in the league again? And you're like, yeah, definitely. I think,
but I got a long way to go.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to do it. Because remember, he wasn't a starter, Rob, when he left.
No.
I mean, he was a backup when the whole issue began. So I hate to say it, Rob, because I'd love to see him get a shot.
Just say it. Spit it out.
2, I think he's good enough. This is clearly a case, and I've seen guys talk about this on TV even today, talking about does he really want to be in the league, and he's kind of blaming him. And I'm like, look, whether you agree with his stance or not, he ain't in the league because of his stance. It has nothing to do with his ability. Now, we're not saying he's definitely a starter.
Chris.
Right.
There's so many guys.
He should be in the NFL. Period. The end. Anybody who sits there and says he's, not good enough, or even blames him. Now, you can say, oh, his attitude, he's talking a little too tough and all that, but he's good enough, and he clearly wants to be in the league.
There's no doubt.
And he brought up some interesting points, Rob, about, the NFL. He said, look, you got in racism in the end zone. I mean, he wasn't saying it like that, but he was just saying today's NFL is more in line with what I was standing for. They have racism in the end zone. They've got, Black Lives Matter on helmets and things like that. And they've said they support players if they kneel. And so what's the issue? And again, I like Pete Carroll, Rob, but why Pete Carroll even say some of the things he said?
Because he's talking out of both sides of his mouth.
Yes.
And somebody should call him out on it, Chris. I'm with you 100%. Stop flapping the gums, Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Do something.
They just signed Geno Smith to a 1-year deal, $7 million.
Why?
So I don't think they have room, but they got Drew Lock. They got Geno Smith. I don't think they're bringing in Kaepernick now.
But Geno Smith, really? I mean, Geno's Pizza is better than Geno Smith at this point. Nothing else.
Geno was a decent backup. Yeah, I gave you an honest laugh. That's better. That's better than Craig Melvin or Kawhi Leonard. Because, Rob, they're really not laughing. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. They're really not laughing.
No.
I laughed from the gut. That was pretty good.
Alex must be on a bathroom break. He wasn't listening. There's no way he listened to that. I worked in Geno's Pizza is better than Geno Smith, and I got 0. When was the last time, Alex, you had Geno's Pizza?
There you go. Oh,
I think it's been a long time, actually.
That's cardboard pizza, right? It's frozen, that cardboard pizza.
Do you eat frozen pizza, Rob?
No. I can't. I'm from
When
New York,
I was a
man.
kid,
we got the best
we ate
pizza.
a lot of frozen pizza.
Did you?
As a kid, my mom used to buy a lot of it. Yeah, it's never as good, no doubt about it, as real pizza. But, Rob, here's what I'm gonna say. I hate to say it. There was a time not too long ago I thought he'd get a shot. I don't think he's getting a shot.
Wow.
I don't think. Do you?
You know what? Part of me says no, but I really thought it was Seattle. I was going to say I didn't know about the Geno Smith. If they didn't sign Geno Smith, I really thought he would have gotten a shot in Seattle. And,
other than that, I mean, I don't – where? Carolina probably wants to take one more look at Sam Darnold.
Right.
Seems like it, right? I mean, there's talk that they could – go after Baker Mayfield. We'll get into that.
Which makes sense. I mean, they should take a look at him. Why not?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. But I don't know where Cap, I mean, he hasn't gotten a tryout from an individual team all these years. He's been calling teams. His agent, it's unfortunate, man. It really is, because the bottom line is this, and he said it's supposed to be a meritocracy. And you've got guys who've done far worse than him,
Right.
who are in the NFL and getting huge contracts.
He didn't do anything, Chris.
No.
That's the sad part.
Right. It's not even worse than he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything. I don't care what anybody said. He didn't do anything. What did he do? He committed a crime?
He stood up for American citizens.
And then all of a sudden we saw in 2020 all these people take it to the streets, Chris, pulling down statues. Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben lost their gigs. I mean, what? They did.